Are you avoiding your unfinished paintings? It's okay, you're not alone. Hopefully, by the end of this video, you'll solve the root of your procrastination and find the inspiration to pick up your paintbrush again. And it's true, it's not laziness that's holding you back. It's actually fear of the unknown. I recently found this poem that I wrote myself in middle school, and it goes like this. I used to be afraid of the dark, of the things I could not see, from the monsters under the bed to the aliens in the closet. I used to be afraid of the dark, but remarkably, now it's the dark I welcome, despite the things I still don't see, from the monsters under the bed to the aliens in the closet. Now, when the dark knocks upon my door, I open it wide and usher it in, and together we sit in silence and deep thought, sharing emotions instead of words. I used to be afraid of the dark, but now I'm not, for I found we share something in common, the dark and I. We are both misunderstood. When you don't know enough about something, you attach a sense of danger to it, which makes you more hesitant because it's uncharted territory after all. You could be afraid of painting with acrylics because you're so used to drawing with pencils or watercolors. You're unsure of what you don't know. And in life, this is a good sense to have, but what do you do when it's holding you back from creating? What is the solution? Since this topic is unique to everyone, there is a lot of gray area, so we'll be going over several tips that I personally found helpful. But wait, you might say, isn't it obvious? Won't simply painting more solve this fear of the unknown? Yes, absolutely. However, it's easier said than done. Because what if you don't have any ideas? This is something you and I have probably encountered a lot as artists, and I have several tips that help me come up with the idea for this painting that you see here. What is the subject that you enjoy painting? Start from there. For me, it's portraits. Now, what is an interesting spin that you can add to this subject? It could be a new art style, limited color palette, an interesting method of painting, like bubble art, which I did in a previous video. The moment you come across something that makes you go, oh, that's cool, then you got your selection. Now, if you find that you're super stuck, don't hesitate to look at the works of artists that you look up to and admire, but at the same time, be careful because you don't want to get lost in finding inspiration either. There are times where I just ended up scrolling for hours at a time on Instagram and my painting was not started. So at the end of the day, focus on painting, at starting your painting. Okay, I'm about to do something I'm a little scared to do, but you know, if you're afraid to mess up your painting as I am right now, that means that you're not free enough. You gotta go bolder, you know, and do something crazy. Coming up with the idea for this painting was pretty simple. My thought process went something around the lines of this. So I want to paint a portrait, but just a face is boring. Maybe I could do splashes and drips in the background. What if I made the face transparent and part of the background? That could be nice. Maybe I could make it more purposeful and do a nature scene. Mountains? Maybe? Oh yeah, remember those mountains I saw when I went on a trip to the Middle East? Maybe I could use that color palette, and ta-da! It's not really rocket science. The less you overthink it, the better. I then found a reference photo and put my idea roughly together in Photoshop. Procrastination doesn't only stem from fear of the unknown. Self-doubt plays a big role too, and I think we can both relate to this. You're hesitant to start an artwork because what if you spend hours on it and it doesn't look good? It's a waste, right? And also, these big artists spend their whole lifetime developing their art. It takes years. why would you even start trying? Before we go on, I'd like to thank you for watching until this point. You're one of the special 20% that stay until the end of the video, and I really appreciate you. If you want to see more videos like this, please smash that like button so I know to keep creating this format of content for you. Whenever I start to doubt myself, I tell myself these 4 things. Ordinary effort over time, if consistent, yields extraordinary results. Perfect is the enemy of good. Something is better than nothing. And when you're at the bottom, the only option is up. If you think your art is bad, then great, because you can only get better from here. Something else I'd recommend is to look up art transformations to help inspire you to keep going. Personally, I've saved a couple that I look back on whenever I feel discouraged. When you think about it, by creating art, you are bringing something into existence that wasn't there before. Art is timeless. It doesn't die. So, in a small sense, you're leaving your mark on the world because your art will live on after you as evidence that you existed. Your hand drew that. Your hand held the paintbrush that made those brush strokes. I've also found that creating art has made me a better person. We all learn lessons from making art, and personally, through my experiences, I've become more patient, accepting, and resilient. Something else I find very important in the creating process is knowing when to step back and stop. The moment you find your focus is wandering, or you're getting frustrated, or you're starting to hate everything about your piece, please take a step back, leave, go on a walk to clear your mind and calm down. Anything. A lot of times you end up ruining your painting at this stage because due to stress, you end up overworking your piece or lashing out at it and destroying it. I speak from experience. 9 times out of 10, when you come back after taking a break, you realize, hey, this painting isn't as bad as I thought. Or you see that something else needs fixing and you were focusing your efforts in the wrong spot before. So now you know the root of why you aren't creating anymore or leaving your paintings unfinished. You know some tips that can help you come up with ideas and face your doubts. There's still one more thing though, and that's starting. No matter how many reasons you come up with to create art, starting your painting is, in my opinion, the biggest hurdle. When you're facing that white canvas or paper or whatever, you start to get overwhelmed. The doubts start to creep in, and sometimes it gets so bad that you just walk away and don't start at all. I feel you. I have several tips that have worked for me and that you'll hopefully find helpful as well. Feeling overwhelmed from just the thought of starting can be because you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to create a whole painting. What I suggest is to break down the huge process into smaller bite-sized tasks for yourself that you can check off as you move forward. This helps make a daunting task seem more manageable, and every time you check off a step, you feel more accomplished, since completing a painting takes a long time, and you could spend hours on it and feel like you haven't made a dent. Something else that has been working for me recently is starting by tinting the paper with a wash or background layer. Once you get rid of the white, for some reason, it feels easier to continue the painting and get the ball rolling, you know? If you have anything to add to what I said here, share it in the comments and let me know your story. I'd love to hear. Best of luck on your journey. I believe in you because it's true. It's not laziness that's holding you back.